So, good evening everyone again. Welcome to the UGC-NET Paper I class day 40. And today we are entering the seventh unit. Literally, both chronologically and literally, we are entering the seventh unit. So that unit is data interpretation. In data interpretation, today we are going to see about sources, acquisition, classification of data, quantitative and qualitative. So before entering this, actually this is the syllabi for UGC-NET Paper I in the data interpretation unit. So you guys don't imagine what we are seeing in the exam, that won't be here today, because as I said earlier, I am just giving you a ground level concept of understanding what is what, so that we can practice in the examination. So I want you guys to have a basic understanding of what is the subjective content. So here I am not going to give you any kind of question where that is similar to the UGC-NET exam. So without any delay, we will move on. So first, data interpretation. See here in the first line itself, I have given as data interpretation for UGC-NET. Why? Because in general, data interpretation might mean in many things in many different fields. So here we are focusing on the UGC-NET exam only. So what is the data interpretation on the point of view of UGC-NET? So it can mainly be understood as the process of utilizing diverse analytical methods to review the given data and arrive at relevant conclusions. So here they will give some tabulated form data. We have to calculate everything so that we can answer the 5 questions which is given at the below the table. So here the interpretation of data helps researchers to categorize, manipulate and summarize the information to answer critical questions. So, and they are saying here, apart from this, knowing the data interpretation format is also important. So in UGC-NET, the data interpretation particularly deals with quantitative data, not qualitative data directly. So here quantitative means that is numerical. So here we are dealing with the numerical data in the UGC-NET, not any non-numerical data. So here data interpretation for UGC-NET can be understood as knowing and describing information in charts, graphs or tables. So it assists us in making sense of facts and numbers. So here they have given one example. So for instance, we can observe a graph to determine the number of students who enjoy various sports. So if there is a graph given for the students and then versus sports, we can easily observe from the graph itself how many students like each sport. So here we use data to make decisions or answer questions. So in order to interpret data, we must identify patterns or trends in the numbers. So I don't know what kind of question they asked this time, but earlier there was a number of diseases were given in the percentage among various countries as well as 2 different years. So we have to calculate the cumulative percentage of which disease is more in which country, like that. So this assists us in knowing what is occurring or what may occur in the future. So at times we require comparing various groups of data so that we may view the disparities. I don't know how many of you have heard about the movie Accountant. Ben Affleck is the actor in that movie. So there he will find a financial discrepancies in a company account, going through various data from different files, like many years of files. So that's how we have to compare the data so that we might find which is not there, like that. One more best example, I don't know whether it is accurate or not. So most of you might have watched the Citizen movie by Ajit Kumar. There they will compare the statistical village geographical data while investigating from very each decade, like they will go in backwards, like 2000s, then 90s, then 80s. So at certain point they will find if there is a village missing by comparing that year data. So that is how we have to compare the data to find any disparities or to make any decisions or answer the questions. Next, data interpretation assists us in making intelligent decisions based on what the figures reveal. So this is the whole of data interpretation. So now we are moving on to sources of data. See here, first, in order to collect data, you need to collect from any particular source. So what is a source? Where, any data a source of data refers to the origin from which data is obtained or generated. So here, at what point or at which point we are obtaining the data, that point is known as, or that origin is known as source of that particular data. So here, understanding the sources of data is fundamental to data analysis and research. So in research, education, governance, business and science, data is essential for analysis, decision making and prediction. So see here, analysis and decision making is being done by various companies at various stages. But prediction, these prediction factor is the main thing which drives the company to plan ahead for their future goals. So how accurate the data is, then that might be the accuracy level of prediction when comparing the data. So here, understanding where and how data is used or sourced ensures that researchers use reliable, valid and appropriate data for their purpose. So there are different types of sources of data. See here, first is observational sources, where we are observing anything directly. Next, experimental sources, they conduct an experiment, from that they are gathering the data. Next, survey and questionnaire based sources. So we are collecting the interview, so that thing we are conducting a survey. Next, interview based sources, and then document and record sources. This comes under that citizen movie, so there is a document and record, based on that they are identifying. Next, transactional sources, where we have transactional bills, bank statements, all those things, that is for transaction purposes. Next, sensor generated sources. So now nowadays vehicle have so many sensors. That sensor acts based on the humidity, like a light sensor. When a certain level of luminosity is reduced in the sensor, it automatically turns on the light for the vehicle. So that is sensor generated sources. Next, web and social media sources, where we collect data from Facebook, WhatsApp and all those things. Next, satellite and remote sensing sources, so GPS. And then database and archival sources. See here, document and record, here database and archival. So this is physical format, this is digital format, but both are document records only. Next, crowdsourced and community generated sources. So we are getting based on a group of people, or some people are voluntarily presenting their own data. Next, machine logs and system sources. So everything, like a web browser has history, so whatever we are using, that web history is a machine logs and system sources. So these are the different types of sources of data. From any of this we can collect data for analysis. So now comes acquisition of data. So what is acquisition? That is simply obtaining. So data acquisition refers to the process of collecting and measuring information on targeted variables to answer relevant questions, test hypotheses and evaluate outcomes. So here we as a scholars, we collect data for testing the hypothesis, and there are some people who are obtaining for to perform the certain evaluate outcome, or they want to answer for particular questions. So it involves gathering raw data from various sources and transforming it into a format suitable for storage. So when I'm asking a particular number of questions through a questionnaire method, I might get the answer. Now what I have to do, I have to code that question, each question or each option to a particular coding like A, B, C or 1, 2, 3 something. Now I have to find how many ones are there, how many twos are there. So that normal answer, that single questionnaire is a raw data. Now I am transforming it into a format suitable for storage and then analysis and decision making. So this is the acquisition of data. Now there are certain objectives. So why do we acquire data? So that is to obtain accurate and relevant and timely data. First, that is the objective. We have to obtain the relevant data, more importantly accurately, still relevant data, because I cannot collect irrelevant data for my study. Next, to ensure that data is complete and consistent. Third one is to support research, decision making and policy formulation. So these are the three objectives of data acquisition. Now there are certain key components. First is data source identification. When I am going to conduct a study, I have to first identify the data source. Next, I have to approach the source and then collect the data. That is data collection. Third one, now I am recording or inputting the collected data. Like I said, no, I have to collect and store it in a certain format, and then pre-processing, that is the coding thing. Like I said, the option, each option is like a male, female, third gender, and then these three are there when we are asking about gender. Now 1 is male, 2 is female, 3 is third gender. So how many male have answered my question, how many female have answered my question, and then how many third gender people have answered my question. So these are the coding thing which comes under pre-processing. So these are the key components of data acquisition. Now methods or techniques of data acquisition. So what are all the methods where I can acquisition data? First is manual methods. I have to go physically and then collect the data. Next, digital and electronic methods. Nowadays we are using questionnaires, no, like a Google form. That is digital electronic methods. Next, sensor based and automated collection. When we repair a vehicle, I am collecting that data over the vehicle through certain sensors. So that is sensor based and automated collection. Next, web/data scraping. So there is so many data, that is vast information available on the internet. Now I am scraping or going through the internet to acquire the relevant data which is suitable for my study. Next is APIs, that is APIs, application programming interfaces. So now Google, we are having that map oriented photo, no, Google map photo. That is when I am clicking a photograph, the location of that particular photograph where it is taken is obtained through the Google location, and then that is embedded in the photo. So that's how I am enabling that particular application for my usage. So that is the application programming interface, where I get the data through integrating the applications. So these are the different methods or techniques for data acquisition. Now comes classification of data. See, like I said, I don't know how many of you guys are remembering that classification or categorization is different from types. So a same thing or a single thing could be categorized based on many ways, but when it comes to types, that is a fixed number of types only could be there. So here we are classifying the data, so based on certain characteristics. First is based on the nature of data. So based on the nature of data, I am classifying it as quantitative or qualitative. So quantitative means numerical, qualitative means categorical. So I told you, in our exam, that is quantitative only, that is numerical data only available for us in the examination. But qualitative data, where I am categorizing based on the skin color, based on the gender. So that is qualitative data. Next comes based on measurement scale, that is nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, ratio scale. I hope you guys know this, what is what, or else we will see it in the research methodology, like that unit 2, we will see it there. I don't want to get into this today. Next, based on time reference, that is cross-sectional data or time series data. Cross-sectional data means a particular time period of time I am collecting multiple data from different multiple points, that is cross-sectional. Time series means I am collecting data from a single source through a different period of time or a certain period of time, that is time series data. Next is based on source, that is internal data or external data. Next, based on structure, structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. Next, based on continuity, continuous data or discrete data. So continuous data means we are giving range, 0 to 10, then 10 to that is 11 to 20, like that. That is continuous. Discrete means I am accurately giving a certain value, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. So in the 5 rating, I have to give only one particular rating, that is discrete data. Next is based on the number of characteristics that particular data has. Univariate, it is if I am taking a male, female, or something like that, then that is univariate. Bivariate means it is having two different characteristics. When I am going for the literate male, that means here I am collecting the literacy level as well as the gender thing. Multivariate means each data can provide different values, that is gender, sex, whatever, and then age, all those things. That is multivariate data. And then lastly, based on origin, primary data or secondary data. I hope you guys know what is primary and secondary. So these are the different classification of data which is available or which we can categorize. So I didn't get into the specifics because we can see it in the research course. I hope you guys know what is what. So I'm moving on due to time constraints. Now, quantitative data. So what is the quantitative data? See here in the second point they have given how much, how many, how often. When a particular data answers such type of questions, that data is known as quantitative data. So it is objective, verifiable, and often used when precision and accuracy are important. So when the characteristic of observation is quantified, we get the quantitative data. So simply quantitative data is the data that can be measured, counted, or expressed in numbers. So when I am assuming a population, if I can count the population exactly, then that is quantitative data. When the population is infinite or cannot be quantified, then that is qualitative data. The data obtained from such type of population is known as qualitative data. So quantitative data result from the measurement of the magnitude of the characteristic used. So for example, age of a person, price of a commodity, income of a family. So I can approach any person to ask about their their age or even their gender. So when I can identify easily, that is quantifiable, that is quantitative data. So key characteristics of quantitative data. First, it is numeric. So no matter what, the value would be numeric. Then it is measurable. And thirdly, it is comparable. I can compare one data with another data. Fourth one is statistical analysis. I can use the collected data for statistical analysis. Lastly, it is objective. So a very limited number, the object, how best to say, I can collect particular data for a particular purpose. So that is objective. So these are the 5 characteristics of quantitative data. Now, importance of quantitative data, why it is needed? So it is used in data interpretation, graphs, tables and charts. So mainly this applies for us scholars, needed for hypothesis testing and statistical analysis. Thirdly, foundational in research design, especially experimental and survey-based studies. Next, questions often ask for mean, median, mode, SD and percentages. So I can calculate everything based on the collected quantitative data. So these are the importance of quantitative data. Now next is qualitative data. So when a characteristic of observation is a quality rather than quantity or attribute, so we get qualitative data. So like I said, no, the color, sex or intelligence, see here intelligence of the student, all those things are qualitative, which cannot be numbered. So earlier in the quantitative, I wrongly said as it is quantitative, but here we can see whichever thing we can control or confine to a numerical value. So salary is numerical value, and then age is numerical value, number of students in a class is numerical value. All those are quantitative data. When I cannot assign such numerical value for that particular data, then it is known as qualitative data. So qualitative data, see the third point, qualitative data is non-numeric descriptive information that represents characteristics, attributes, categories or qualities. So here we are using certain attributes and characteristics for categorizing the data. So here it provides insight to the why and how. There we saw how many, how much, how long, all those things. But here we are seeing it about how and why of that phenomenon rather than the how much and how many. So qualitative data is subjective. There it is objective. So here it is subjective and often collected in words, text, visuals or audio, and is commonly used in social sciences, education, psychology and marketing research. So here see, it is categorical. Now these are the key characteristics of qualitative data. That one it is numerical, here it is non-numerical. See here, and then it is descriptive. There it is not descriptive, and there it is objective, here it is subjective. Next is exploratory. We are exploring certain things, and then here it is unstructured or semi-structured. There we can confine it to a particular number, so it is structured. Here we cannot confine like that, so it is unstructured or semi-structured. Next is contextual. So the data would be context based, where I am collecting for a certain purpose. So that is contextual. So next, collection methods of qualitative data. So how we can collect it? First is interviews and then focus groups. So these two are done in social science researchers nowadays, and then observations. This applies to science also, and then case studies, document analysis, open-ended surveys. So these are the different methods are to collect the qualitative data. Nextly, techniques for analyzing the qualitative data. So first is thematic analysis. I am analyzing the data for suitability for the particular theme. Next, content analysis. How best the content is there, how it is okay. Next, narrative analysis, and then grounded theory. So based on the collected data, I am building up a theory. So that is grounded theory. Next is discourse analysis. I am here predicting how it might go. So that is known as discourse analysis. So these are the different techniques for analyzing qualitative data. That's all for today's class. These are some bibliography. Go through. Oh, thank you.